Hey everybody, it's the interview queen Alicia Atout here, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to interview round two with Derek from Sum 41. Hello,
Hey, how's it going?
it's going really well. How are you doing over there? How have you been?
I've been pretty good, pretty good. Just kind of still just at home most of the time. Not really much change the past year.
Right. I mean, with the way the world is now, things can get pretty boring if you don't keep yourself busy. So, what are some of the things you've been doing just for fun to occupy your time when not focusing on the music?
Well, I guess my wife and I had a baby about 2 weeks before the lockdown started, so that he's kept us pretty busy.
I bet. Congratulations.
But yeah, so that's really much. It's been in a way. I mean, I would have been on the road this whole time and would have missed this whole year of our first child. So in a way, I mean, I got to spend every single day with him. So that was pretty cool.
It's all kind of about finding those silver linings because we are in a really troubling, intense, crazy time. But the fact that
Yeah,
you weren't on the road and you got to spend all that time with your little one, like that's wonderful.
yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome. Well, something that's really exciting, especially for fans, is that you recently shared a brand new version of your song Catching Fire. So, whenever you're sharing something, whether it's a brand new track or a re release, do you still happen to get any nerves just in terms of the excitement, anticipation, knowing people are going to be hearing this for
Yeah,
the first time?
yeah, always. Everything. I mean, every record, every song, everything that comes out, it still feels like it's the first time. Like nothing feels different to me, at least. It always feels like every record we're putting out is like we're a brand new band. I don't know if that feels like that for everybody, but that's how it is for me.
I know that the reimagined track does feature Nothing Nowhere, who I was absolutely thrilled to find out was a part of the project, and he was as well. So, when it came to everybody you could have kind of featured on this track, which is very special and important to you, what drew you to collaborating with this specific great artist?
Well, number one, I mean, musically, like I liked his voice a lot. I felt like his voice would have worked on this track, and I think it did. I think we sound good together. So that's always number one to me. A friend of mine had played me some of his music and kind of had let me know it was a friend of mine who had worked with him, so he kind of knew what he was all about and sort of that he sings about these kinds of topics as well, like with mental health, and it's kind of a thing that's important to him. So that was important to me to bring somebody in who sort of understood the message of the song. You know,
No, 100%. You mentioned the mental health aspect of it there. And this is an incredibly personal song that's very close to not only your heart, but also your wife's heart, because you did in
Mhm.
the end up writing it for her. So, was it easy for you to write about such a personal experience, or was it a little bit difficult at the beginning just letting those walls down?
Well, writing the song, I mean, there was parts of it that were difficult and parts of it that were easy. And I mean, the way I wrote the song was I've, I mean, I always write in ways that I always feel like it's not super direct, right? Like if you don't know what I'm talking about, you may not know what the song's about. So to write the song and put it out without ever talking about it was kind of easy, but putting it out and telling everybody that it's about, an attempted suicide from my wife in our recent history, that became much more difficult to talk about. And I had to really think about that for a while. And I think the fact that my wife felt was so brave about coming out with it, that sort of gave me the strength because, I mean, if she felt fine with it, I don't know why I'm holding back. But
Right?
um, yeah, so yeah, again, like I said, talking about the what it was actually about was more difficult than writing the song.
No, I could imagine. But since actually coming forth with everything and doing these in-depth interviews, is it a little bit more freeing, or almost like a weight's been lifted for both of you, just in some weird sense?
Yeah, in a way, I think it felt like there was a weight lifted between the two of us because, this happened in 2013, and I wrote the song in 2018 or 19, and in that period, like that 6 year period, we never really spoke about it. We sort of like tried our best to deal with it at the time in 2013, but then we kind of moved on and we're just hoping that everything was okay. And it never left my mind. I couldn't shake it really. It was just always there. And I wrote that song and I played it for her, and it was sort of the lyrics were basically everything that I wished I could have said in words in just speaking. But I'm a I'm better at putting it into music than just speaking in a lot of ways. So once I played it for her, then it really opened everything up, so we could talk about it and be a bit more open with each other. So it's freed us and it helped us get to a better place, and she feels in a much better place.
That's
And
so
we felt like
wonderful.
coming out with this story, we felt like we've gotten as much as we can get out of it by keeping it a secret. Now let's let it out to the world, and hopefully it can help other people.
It definitely has been too, and that must just be such a like heartwarming thing to have seen. And I know that when you were writing the song, you've mentioned before how it was quite the cathartic process for you. So when you are feeling down or kind of going through something very tough, what's another advice you have to just unwind and start to feel better about things?
For me, it's always music. Everything comes back to music. It's like the one thing that is, it's just so powerful to me. I mean, even in my own life, writing a song myself can help me feel better or me feel free. And also listening to other people's music can make me feel better at the same time.
Do you happen to have a go-to band? I know for me, anytime I'm feeling down, if I put Bee Gees on, for some reason those harmonies will hit and I'm just ready to go. I start feeling better right away.
I know what you mean. I guess probably I have a few things, but probably Tom Petty is probably
Oh,
my
nice.
favorite. And there's just so much music there that it's kind of great for all kind of moods, I guess.
Oh,
I do
absolutely.
gravitate more towards Tom Petty more than anything else, I think.
Okay. Well, one thing I wanted to bring up with you is you shared this amazing photograph from almost a decade ago where you were on the road with Motley Crue and then Tommy Lee decided to prank you by
Yeah,
pouring
yeah.
pounds and pounds of flour from the rafters on you while performing. So is that kind of up there with one of the best tour pranks you've experienced over the years? Because I'm sure there have been many.
That was probably one of the best ones because I mean, there's always a lot of tour pranks, but you kind of know what they all are. There's only like a handful of ones, and they kind of get rotated around from band to band. That one was very creative. I was not expecting it. I'd never
I
seen it
bet.
before.
What was another kind of good prank you were a part of, whether one that happened to you or one you actually did to somebody else while on the road?
Well, there's a lot of footage online on YouTube of us. Our favorite prank was always something to do with a fire extinguisher. It was the quickest and most effective way to really affect something or some situation. So we would do sometimes we did this to Good Charlotte on the last show of their tour. A couple of us, so I wasn't there, but our drummer and bass player ran out on stage and uh, fire extinguished them in the middle of their show, kind of like the Tommy Lee the flower thing, but
Right.
just sprayed the whole stage, sprayed them all, and they were, it was a little bit worse actually because they were all choking and
Oh
they
no.
couldn't, they couldn't breathe, and it really messed up the whole show. But I mean, it was the last song.
Right. Hey, at least they saved it until the ending, and now it's something you
Yeah,
look back on where you can't quite be as mad. So you have to give credit where it's due. That was a good prank.
it was a great prank for sure.
Well, over the years, you've definitely had some incredible calls to write for some wonderful artists, everyone from Ludacris to DMX. I discovered that story recently about DMX. I thought that was amazing. So who's kind of one artist out there you'd still love to write a song for that you've yet to?
I don't know, because these things don't come up. Like I don't really think about them or um, ever try to go after these kind of situations or ask another artist to write with them. So I don't know. I To be honest, it's like writing for me is such a sort of I'm so introverted. I do it in such like complete isolation. So working with other people sometimes scares me. So I don't really think about like who I'd like to work with because if I think about that, I just get nervous.
Right. No, that makes complete sense. It's one of those things where, hey, if it falls in your lap, you'll work with it, you'll make do. And
Yeah,
if not, out of sight, out of mind, right?
yeah.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you about is on my show, I not only interview musicians, but I'm also in the world of wrestling. So if you kind of
Okay.
had to have an in-ring persona, what do you think that might be?
I don't know if like introverts would do too well in the ring.
You would be surprised. A lot of people you meet behind the scenes who are the craziest people in the ring are the most subdued and chill guys I've ever met.
That's usually the way it is. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, I used to really be into wrestling when I was younger. Like obviously, I mean, that was the '80s, so you had like Hulk and Macho Man and
Right. Ultimate
all that.
Warriors.
Yeah, that whole era. I loved all that stuff, but I don't see myself too much of a Hulkster, so I don't know.
You're not going to go in there crazy, just ripping people apart your shirt.
Probably not.
Well, I just want to say I really do appreciate your time coming on here. It's been great just learning a little bit more about the newly released track and what you've been up to. So thank you a bunch, Derek, for coming
All
on
right,
the show today.
cool. No, thank you very much.
Absolutely. And to everybody watching, this has been Derek from Sum 41. Be sure to check out aliciatoot.com for more exclusive interviews and features, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.